Hey, good Wednesday evening, everyone. It's weather for Weather Geeks time. Hope you had a good Wednesday. Today, definitely a little bit of a different day compared to the last several. We didn't hit 90 today, but we did get to 84 with some bonus sunshine during the midday and early afternoon. So above average by about 8 degrees, but not as oppressive as the last several days. Now, some parts of the area have had some showers today. I have not detected any lightning and thunder in our viewing area. But as I record this at about 7:15, still raining down towards the river in East Liverpool. Most of this action is over towards the northern suburbs of Pittsburgh. Notice there is some very, very light echoes showing up out here in western Ohio, southern Ohio. These are going to try to track our way overnight. Show you the models here in just a second, but I'm not expecting a whole lot of rain as we go through the night tonight. So take a look at the temperatures this evening. We've got 70s locally. Now behind our front, it's actually a little warmer because they've had some sunshine. But there is a dew point drop behind this front that we're going to notice tomorrow. Notice the dew points off to the west have dropped into the 40s and 50s in Wisconsin, Michigan, around the Chicago area. And this air mass is coming our way. So by tomorrow afternoon, dew points will be dropping down into the lower 50s, especially in the northern part of our viewing area. And it's going to feel much different, much more refreshing. You can open up the windows before the day is through. The next air mass is waiting in the wings up here across Canada. This is the chilly air that's going to work its way south as we go into the weekend. And we've had to unfortunately make some changes to the weekend forecast, and I'll talk about those in just a couple of minutes. All right, real quick look at the short term, mainly tonight and into tomorrow morning. Here's our high resolution model for the middle of the night tonight, showing not much. We're talking about just a touch of rain, maybe a couple of hundredths in spots. By tomorrow morning at the bus stop for the kids, I can't rule out a shower or a little drizzle, but it's not going to be much more than that. And all of this is pretty much out of our hair. Whatever light rain or mist there is, I think is out of here by mid-morning at the latest tomorrow. So by afternoon, we should be in pretty good shape. Notice the simulated radar tomorrow afternoon has the rain to our south and to the east. So tomorrow afternoon ends on a nice note, and then Friday is a pretty nice day during the daylight hours. I want to talk about Friday evening because, of course, it's a Friday evening in high school football season, so let's talk about the timing of this next front. Here's Friday early afternoon showers well off to our west. By about kickoff Friday evening, some of these are trying to approach. Now, this is the NAM model, which is a little slower than the GFS, which has the rain a little farther to the east. So we're going to allow for the possibility of some light rain. I think it is light if it occurs during football Friday evening. I'm not expecting a lightning and thunder issue like we had last Friday. Of course, we had several delays across the valley with the lightning. Don't expect a repeat of that this time around. All right, so let's talk about the weekend and why our weekend forecast is going a little bit downhill. I'm going to show you the upper levels first because that's really where you can see what's going on here. Bring up the contours. All right, what we have going on Saturday morning is a trough of low pressure. Pretty standard issue looking trough here. And let's actually, here we go, Saturday morning. It's still an open trough. In other words, there's not a circular area of low pressure. But that's going to change as we go through time. This is going to strengthen and dig. So by Saturday evening, you're starting to see this really slowing down, and you're starting to see that closed low developing almost right overhead. And this is really going to put the brakes on the whole system. So by Sunday morning, this thing is like kind of over our heads. And when we have an upper low like this overhead, that's usually not a good thing for our weather. So the rain's going to have a hard time leaving. The temperatures are really going to be cool for mid-September during the course of the upcoming weekend. So what about the rain? So let's talk about that. All right, we'll take off the contours here. Here's the GFS model for midday on Saturday. Whoops, didn't mean to move myself there. All right, midday on Saturday, it's not showing a lot of heavy rain around, but the European actually has a pretty good bout of heavy rain here for a time Saturday. So whether it's light or heavier, it will rain some on Saturday. Not sure of the extent of any heavy rain just yet. So by Saturday evening, this is still around for the YSU home opener, unfortunately. Saturday evening, it's going to be cool and damp. Hopefully the rain is fairly light. Now by Sunday, with that low closing off, you're going to see these showers still developing on the back side of this. And with this very, very chilly air upstairs, after all, a closed low pressure system in the upper levels is a pocket of pretty chilly air. You might see some thunderstorms trying to develop off of Lake Erie. The lake's really warm. 70 to 72 degree water temperatures, and then you have air upstairs that's really chilly. So there could be water spouts on Lake Erie this weekend, and there could even be some thunderstorms trying to develop in some places as a result. So Sunday afternoon, still looks kind of crummy. Mid-60s at best, and some showers around. Of course, once the weekend is done, things will improve in a big way. So by Monday, the rain's gone, the sun will be out. So the weekend's not looking great. Here's the 16-day temperature trend on the GFS Ensemble, showing our weekend cool down. You can easily pick that out here. And again, this might be a little optimistic. Worst case scenario, it's no better than 60 this weekend. That's worst case. I think it's more likely closer to the mid-60s. But anyway, a cool weekend. But look how rapidly we warm back up during the first half of next week. We're going to spend a few days above average, maybe even several days above average next weekend to maybe next weekend. It's not going to be like the heat wave we just had, but it is going to be a warm pattern for us during the kind of the middle 10 days of September. Well, what about the rest of meteorological fall? I told you earlier on today that I'd take a look at the 2 remaining months, October and November, of what we consider to be meteorological fall. Latest climate models for October showing a warm month across much of the eastern third, if not 2/3 of the country, the exception being kind of the southwest and out towards Texas. But this is a signal of warmth where we live for October. What about November? The map doesn't change a whole lot, does it? So if the climate models have the right idea, we are in for a warmer than average fall season. Does that mean anything for winter? No, not at all. A lot of very cold winters have been preceded by warm falls. Our forecast for the winter won't be out for another 6 weeks or so, but we're not anticipating a repeat performance of the last couple of winters. And that's partially, if not mostly, to do with the very strong El Nino. We could have some pretty big snowstorms this winter. We could have a lot of cold days, but when we average it all out, it'll be a much closer to average winter than the last 2 winters, which have been, really, really harsh. The worst back-to-back winters we've had since the 70s. We should not make it 3 in a row. Anyway, much more in the winter forecast coming up at the end of October. Much more Weather Geeks coming your way Thursday evening on ericwfmj.com and wfmj.com/weather. Thanks as always for watching, and have a great Wednesday night.